Today I'm looking at vRealize Log Insight Manager, specifically version 4.3, which I'm hoping will be on the VMware Eval Experience program soon. Meanwhile, I'm just going to jump in and assume you already have the OVA file downloaded. Maybe you bought it, or you're using Eval Experience for about $200 for a year of trying in a non-production environment like a home lab. All right, so that's the product. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to make a syslog server for my ESXi servers in my home lab cluster and my VCSA appliance itself, and a 10 gig switch I have that wants a syslog target as well. It's for troubleshooting purposes. It can be really good to have a syslog server. Okay, so there's got lots of great articles out there. This is one of them about just a walkthrough on how you deploy Log Insight Manager. Now I'm going to go about it slightly differently, and I'm going to use the HTML5 client. The future going forward is the HTML5 based vSphere client is what it's simply called. All right. So this is a live connection to my vSphere cluster in my lab, and I'm going to go ahead and deploy an OVA now. So deploy an OVF template. Okay. I'm going to select it because I already downloaded it. I admitted that to you. And version 4.3 is what I told you about. Where do I want to deploy it to, and what do I want to call it? So I might give it a name like this, vRealize. This is going to be its DNS name. Deploy to this node of my cluster. Node being a host, or also known as a server, a physical machine. Running ESXi 6.5 update 1, by the way. This 4.3 release is from April of this year. I don't find a newer version. Is it officially supported on 6.5 update 1, which only came out 3 weeks ago or so? I don't actually know. Just being candid there. This is not an official VMware video of any sort. All right, extra small is what I'm going to go with in a home lab. And you'll see over here on the right, talks about how many hosts. Yeah, I only have 2 or 3 at a time in my home lab. Where do we want to put it? I'm going to put it on a local SSD, but I'm going to thin provision it, especially on SSDs. I don't like to take up more storage than needed, and speed is not an issue. Okay, VM network, I'm going to leave all that alone. Now it's saying static. Okay, it's not going to let me do DCP even if I wanted to. And it's ready for me to type there. So time for me to fire up my particular DCP server on my Ubiquiti router, and I'm going to make sure I pick a DNS name. Remember, I had that name in my table there. You'll want to make sure it's available, of course, and you want to let a couple of pings go because some devices are slow to respond to the first ping. All right, it's available. And is it going to let me continue? There we go. I hit tab and then it cleared up. The next key lit up. All right, so now it's deploying the OVA. I'll need to show recent tasks so you can see what's going on here. There we go. And I should have excellent speed. I'm actually a 10 gig network on one of these. So yeah, we're getting pretty good speed. 140 megabits from the SSD in this laptop. That's 10 gig attached to this 10 gig cluster that's in my basement. So yeah, this OVF deployment should be quite speedy. Now, let's take this lull here to have another look at the install documentation. So there they're using slightly different UI, but you get the idea. You point to the file, you deploy it. Now it's going to ask us some more questions later on once we get past this initial deployment, which you saw. Okay, that stuff did not come up. Interesting. So we'll have to see if I succeeded with this deployment. This is using the old user interface. So yeah, it will be interesting to see if this works. So it's completed. That's good. Go back to that document. What's it say to do when you're done? Well, probably going to power on the VM. Sounds good to me. Let me get a remote console for you going. There we go. And power it up. Okay, it's SUSE based. I'm guessing that it's going to be Photon OS. I have nothing to do with that product development team. I don't have any special insight. But the products from VMware like NSX and VCSA itself was first or earlier for Photon OS, a lighter OS than SUSE. But anyhow, there'll be an upgrade path. There generally is when moving from SUSE to a later appliance. It'll be some sort of migration tool. And you see that's still booted rather fast. All right, back to the instruction sheet. We probably just want to point to its IP, right? So there's the IP address that this VM was given. But I'm still going to go back to this and say, hey, take a look. Okay, location, HTTPS, and then type it in. So let's do that. Or paste it in. Okay, 145 is what it was given. So instead of 155, I'm going to go ahead and put that in my DHCP and DNS server. Okay, my router, I found the lease. And there's the lease. I'm going to map a static IP. And I already said I want to call it this. So there we go. So now DNS lookup will work, and I can actually just get in to this appliance by name. A cleaner, nicer way to go. I do have an article all about this, by the way. This particular router, I'll show you here. And how I configured it and so forth, including DNS and DHCP and everything you just saw. Let's go back to where I was. And that was seeing if the router finished saving its config. It has. That means https:// and then the name .lab.local to make sure if you're on a VPN or whatever, it's still going to hit that host. Let's see if it works. Not so fast. Let's try without the S just in case. Also a no-go. It's possible the service just isn't fully booted yet, right? We don't really know. Looking here. Okay, now it's actually saying vRealize Log Insight actually shows that's how we're going to log in. So it might be up by now. Cool. It's up and it redirected to S. Just click Advanced, blow past the warning. And we may have a way to import the certificate. Not really sure. Okay, I've never used this product, I'll admit. There's no port 5480 or kind of backdoor VAMI-like interface for it. So we just deal with that. All right. So I'm in and I'm going to hit next. Are you starting a new one? I'm starting a new one. Okay, it took a little while. It's going to make you type in an email address. You might want to use a Gmail account or somewhere where you can do filtering and make your phone alert and all that stuff. Okay. And create a new password. License key. Okay, I got to grab that from somewhere. Eval Experience, I believe. Let me see if it lets me do it without it. Just a second. Okay, I'm going to try a license key from version 4.0 inside Eval Experience. Let's see if that actually works. It worked. Save and continue. All right, so that's the email I'm alerting to. And do I have an HTTP post? I don't. I'm going to join the customer experience program, but it's probably worth taking a look at the article again. So let's have a look here and see what they say. So you set it up. Email notifications, he put Daniel at virtuallyboring.com, turn on customer experience program, and now went and turned on NTP servers. I'm probably going to close these other windows to reduce your clutter here. I'm going to hit next, and all right, it already sets this up for NTP. Normally, a VM, I would say, hey, VM, synchronize your time with the ESX host you're running on. Honestly, that's my preference. My ESXi host that's running my VCSA appliance already hits the servers. So I want to make sure everyone's clock is the same. And one way to do that is to synchronize the time. But since the product seems to be recognizing that it's its own time source, well, that's okay too. Everyone's clock should be synced since they're all hitting the same pool. Anyhow, this is interesting that it's using these names. And actually, I'm going to notate those. Maybe those are what I should use in my ESXi hosts instead of the NIST one I've been using. I don't know. I'll look into that. Anyhow, I'm going to leave that alone. But you can certainly go here and say, hey, I want to edit the settings of the VM over here under VM options, under tools, and say I want a synchronized guest time with host. That will be sure that your logging is exactly the same. So yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you. All right, save and continue. I imagine that can be changed at any time, perhaps. All right, this gets trickier. If I really want SMTP send to work, I'm going to need to set this up. If you're using Google or Gmail or something, that's definitely more complicated. If you have an internet provider, okay, now I use an app password because, well, dual factor and all of that. So yeah, good reason to use an app password. Let's give that a try. Now it's time to test. Success. Nice. All right. Moving along, I can finally save and continue. Finish. All right, next. vSphere integration. I definitely want that. I want all my hosts pointing here as my syslog server, and I want integration as well. So if I click here, I guess I'm going to return to that page later. VCSA.lab.local is the name of my appliance. So I want to configure, I want to collect all my vCenter server events. This explains. Cool. And the ESXi hosts themselves are all going to get collected. I don't have to log into each with PuTTY or type some stuff. I love that. All right, so they're all going to get configured the same way. Let's do a test connection here. Success. Here it says, it doesn't say you need fully qualified, but generally that's what you do. Full name, and that's it. Do I click here and save? Or do I, let's see. There you go. It's configuring. There's no need to click plus because I only have one VCSA appliance in my home lab. So now it's configuring each of the 3 hosts that I have so that syslogging is sent here. Cool. I'm the curious type. I actually have the host connection still up here. So I'm going to go over to the Manage tab, Auto Start. Advanced, excuse me. System tab, Advanced Settings, and type in syslog here. I already did that earlier. And this changed. So it was under the path of a local data store, and now it's, no, maybe not. Oh, that's right. That's if I was doing syslog locally, but now it should be sending remote. So do we see the host? There it is. vRealize Log Insight. It's right in front of my eyeballs. I just need to look at it. Cool. So it worked. And we already did test connection. I'm done with this screen. Looks like I'm in evaluation mode, which is a little bit odd. Okay. What else? I want to back arrow back to that kind of startup screen. Let's see what happens there. So I've added a vCenter. Ooh. All right. It's working. Now, this article, this tab, talks a little bit about what to do once you get in. Ready to ingest data. Configure vSphere integration. So once we've done that, test connection successful, go to hosts, and you should see all the servers. So let's take a look. Quite a lot to click on. We're looking under Management Host. Okay, the interface has changed quite a bit since these screenshots, and it'll take 5 or 10 minutes for them to appear. So where are we? They're showing integration tab here, configuration, all right. Syslog. Anyhow, this earlier screenshot, I want to get back to this ready to ingest data. So that's under configure vSphere integration or agents or syslog. All right, so syslog is the next piece I want. Different dashboards we can create. I'm just doing what you would do and clicking on stuff. All right, here's my overview page. I have a bunch of VMs that are orphaned because I have a bunch of drives detached. Okay, there we go. All 3 hosts are seen in VCSA itself. So I'm comfortable everything's working. It's going to take me some time to explore it all. This video is really about a focus on getting started, which we've done. I probably should find the marketplace to download these contact packs. So hamburger menu contact packs. I still didn't find, wow, it's changed. Management hosts, dashboard, all right. Let's see what happens if I click here. I suppose you couldn't make a connection, all right. What happens here? All right, so maybe it didn't like my license key. I don't know. It seems to be working. Maybe the trial will run out and then I need to apply my VCSA license key. Not really sure there. That's where I configure alarms and all that under the interactive analytics. Is there a hamburger menu? If I click here, it brings me home. How do I get to configuring this as a syslog server for my 10 gig network switch I told you about? Hamburger menus in the top right. Oh, contact packs. I told you I was going to show you those. Awesome. Store for nerds to download stuff. All right, we already have vSphere installed. That's expected. You could do Synology, Veeam. Very nice. Site Recovery Manager. I'll want to do vSAN. Want to get that? Maybe VROP. So yeah, there's definitely more things of interest to me personally. Cool. All right. Let's go to administration. And there's hosts. There it is. They are receiving, all 3 hosts are sending data. That's cool. How about under configuration? Okay. I do not have Active Directory in my environment. And if we have a custom cert, we can import the cert there. So yeah, let's try that. What am I doing? I don't need the 5480. I don't want the 5480. Just go in. It redirects me to secure. Download that cert. Looks like I already had it downloaded. Go into that folder. Go into certs. And this is the directory under Windows where that first file, the CRT file, should work fine. So let's see if I'm able to update that. Invalid certificate format. That would have been too easy, huh? Can we cheat a little and rename it? I'm going to extract that rather than open the zip. All right. Let's go to the Linux folder. See if it likes that one better. Okay, can we rename it? Okay, this gives me directions for configuring a certificate for use, and there's a bunch of stuff to type. Okay, so that's beyond the scope of this video. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I still want to know how to make this my syslog server. Is it still in my back arrow history? No. Okay, let me manually strip off the URL, see what happens on the home page. Nope. How about I log out? I'm in. Just remember to use admin. Syslog server listens and is ready to ingest messages. So if we look at this guy's article here, let's see if it seems to hint that by default Log Insight can ingest it. Just set the Log Insight as your syslog destination. There's nothing to turn on there. All right, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to log into my switch. Does not do an auto redirect, so I guess I need to turn off the S. There we go. All right, you remember the name of our OR IP? Now, in general for syslogging, you tend to use IPs, but let's take a look here. Monitoring, logs, server logs. Okay. All right, so it seems like by name, I can configure a syslog server, and by default, it can ingest as your server destination. So what are our port numbers? Syslog server listens to port 514 for TCP and 514 for UDP. So it seems like 514 is a pretty good bet. Add. And apply. Server log, admin status. All right. All right, it appears we've configured syslogging. Do I have it working or not? That's another matter. So a whole lot of syslogging going on there. Firmware flash logging. Let's enable that. Click enable and click apply. We don't want to do that. All right. We don't know how many messages received. Are trap logs being sent? That's hard to say. Event logs? I guess so. All right, that's about it. The directions. Did this come up? No, it did not. So it appears that manual needs to come from another place. Let's see if I can find the instruction manual. Okay, still coming down. So let's look for syslogging in here and see. All right, once it finishes downloading, hopefully we'll see more. Now this worries me when you turn on syslogging. You have no idea how big it's going to be. So go back to monitoring, logs, critical filter. All right, so that's good. So only critical is going to get sent. That might not be so good because I actually am having an issue with one cable and one host. So I might want to go to debug temporarily. Let's see what happens if I do that. Pretty clumsy UI, but yes, it's changed to debug. All right, so now the stuff should be. Oh, that's weird. Okay, DNS. I really messed up there, huh? DNS, the Log Insight Manager, port 514, debug, add. delete that one, and apply. All right, so now vRealize Log Insight is being sent syslog information. And let's see if that's correct. The directions say what about syslog? Sent to the syslog server, okay, for DDoS attacks. Managing the logs. Okay, so configure a local log server or add a remote syslog host. Monitor log server log. Or DNS, we did DNS, we did debug, click add. So yes, port 514. If I had left it blank, it probably would have worked. And the status field should show if it's currently active. So status field, and again, we're in the right place. We are in monitoring log server log. Monitoring logs server log. And status, I don't know where that is. Status field in the server configuration table. Monitoring logs, trap logs. Let's try that. Monitoring logs, trap logs. Okay, there's a bunch of stuff showing here. Port 4 has been giving me trouble. Where do I see that this is actually functioning? I don't know. So we know there's a bunch of syslog hits, 21 of them. Add a remote syslog host, specify, click add. Status field in the server configuration table shows whether the remote logging host is currently active. Status field in the server configuration table. This is the server configuration table. Status field says active. So that's it. I've got logging going. I guess the last piece is how do I find these events? All right, I should be able to see some logs. See examples of what might have been sent there. I can move a port or do something because I really want to know if anything is showing up here. So interactive analytics shows just everything. And a whole lot of data is going to show there. So this 1541 is still looking for an iSCSI host that doesn't exist. iSCSI has been turned off. So that's gives me some insight into a little latent problem, a little chit chat that doesn't need to be going on. I should either light up the iSCSI storage or delete the connection. All right. Yeah, I'm thinking about how to make the switch throw an event. I'm going to just move a network cable around. I'll give that a try. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. If I go to device view, I just moved from port 1 to 5. That's actually where the laptop is. I'm on a VM that's running 10 gig right now over this port 4. But anyhow, that should generate some sort of event. So if I go back to monitoring, logs, 1306, port 5 came up. So yeah, something just happened. Clock is accurate. So now, do I just refresh? And is this instant? So here's our time. 1303, it is not current. I don't see a recycle icon here. I'm just going to hit refresh. All right, it is August 15th. 1303 is 5 minutes ago. 1308 is more like it. All right, I don't see evidence I got it working. Let's just slide this over. So you got two things left, two tabs I care about right now. Getting these events to show up over here. Clock's working, times are synced, but I would have expected at 1307 the cable move. Okay, I didn't go back far enough. There's a lot of events in here. So I probably am going to need to use a filter. So I'm trying to go back to 1307 and see if I can spot something. All right, being a little silly, let's find something to look for. Like that word should be something I can search for. All right, well, this is going to be maybe a little trickier than I was thinking initially. 1507. Again, the time right here is 03. So 3 minutes ago, move the cable. So 1306, excuse me, 1306. So we're seeing a host name giving a whole lot of chitter chatter at 1306, but we're not seeing a host name of the Netgear. 1306, media type change. So that trap log should be something to look for. How about searching for that? Maybe the host is not showing for some reason. Let's get down to the second hand here. 1306 and 33. 1306 and 33. Went a little too far. Nice, there it is. So Netgear 10GBE1 is the filter I should have been using. I don't know why it's -1. But clearly I am logging stuff, so that's good. And if I hit this, there we go. There's all my events. Is it? I thought 13:06. Oh, it's less. It's more than 5 minutes ago now. There we go. There we go. So yes, I'm capturing all events from my 10 gig switch. I am very happy now. It's a few weeks later, and it looks like I never did record how I set up the alarm. So let me just show you. Interactive analytics. We head over here. All right, and this little alarm icon. I can manage the alert. And I can click on the edit, and now you can see on any match for this, send email. That's it. Now if we say edit query, you'll see a little more detail that I had to fine tune. I had to find Netgear 10 gig E, and I added some filters. Some text to say it doesn't have this DNS message I don't care about, and it doesn't have this SMTP message I don't care about. I pulled those two out, and it left behind what I do care about. All right, if we go back here to Interactive Analytics, you'll see Add Current Query to the dashboard. So as you go, you kind of learn how to set these up. So let me show you that again here. Manage alerts. So you do a search of the last 6 hours of data. Nothing comes up. Search the last 7 days. Some stuff comes up. And right here you have add filter, and it says, let's say I want maybe I don't want this to show up. Like maybe I don't care about those messages. So all of a sudden those should go away. So I'm going to hit the enter key. And there you go. So I've built a query. Once I've like it, I can say add the current query to the dashboard or create alert from this query. And it's going to go ahead and create a new one. And we give it a name and put an email address and destination. So hopefully that gives you a sense of the most basic function, that is syslog alerting. Would not recommend detailed logging for very long, right? I'm just doing it for a few hours to capture a 10 gig drop event and the events surrounding it and what leads up to it and whatever. So yeah, so I need to remember to go back in here and turn off that level of logging that I set. Also, once I capture the event I'm trying to capture. Also, I didn't really look at the storage backing this. And log back, there we go. There's the properties of this VM, right? This is what the virtual hardware look like. So 20 gig. Yeah. Well, let's see what it actually looks like. So if we go to the hard disk here, should be able to click on it, bring up the data store browser, and see the size of the file sitting there. And here we go. So this is how much storage it's using up by default already. 13 gig or so, something like that. We got a swap file for the amount of memory. That's normal when you boot it. So when will it fill? When will I be having problems with pruning or size? Don't really know. I don't really want to find out anytime soon, but I'll need to keep an eye on it. Here's the appliance. And the memory is 4 gig. Right? We saw that in the swap file that was booted. And everything's, fine with the appliance. So that's about it. We're done with this look at VMware vRealize Log Insight, OVA Appliance version 4.30. Today a look at vRealize Log Insight upgrade procedures. Now if I click on the hamburger menu, the 3 lines, and do help about, you'll see I'm at 4.3. And what I want to do is get to the latest version. So to do that, we go into my.vmware.com, log in, and today, this moment in time, it happens to be version 4.5. Now, since I'm not deploying the appliance from scratch, I already have the appliance 4.3. Remember, I already showed you that over here. I really want the upgrade package. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. All right, so the upgrade pack is now hanging out right where my OVA file was as well. All right, so how do you actually point to that pack? How do you tell Log Insight what to do? So back at the home screen here, this is Log Insight, and the thing you're going to click on is the lines, click Administration, and then click on Cluster. So there's an Upgrade Cluster button. I only have one, so my cluster is rather simple. And when that upgrade patch is downloaded, I'll just point to it. Okay, so it's almost done. Okay, I paused the video and now I resumed a couple minutes later, and you can see it's just about finished downloading that upgrade pack. If I sort by date here, it's going to pop to the top. There it is, the pack. Am I sure I want to upgrade? Say yes. And then we wait. That's the process. Admittedly, this is my first time doing it. It wasn't too hard for me to Google around and find the update process. Basically, the trick was to click on Cluster and find the Upgrade Cluster button. So at this point, it's transferring the pack. It finished transferring the pack. Click Accept on the license agreement. And now I simply wait. Do not hit refresh or F5 or anything. Just let it do its thing.
It changed the way I do my job significantly, just with what I learned. I failed my first attempt, and I always tell people there's...
Okay, it's about 5 minutes later. That was on a SSD, SATA 2 SSD, not the fastest SSD in the world. That gives you an idea of the speed. And this was just the upgrade procedure, right? You probably want to have a backup strategy or rollback strategy in production. Right? This is just a lab. I could always deploy the appliance all over again or start fresh. But my upgrade obviously went well. So I'm now at 4.5. How do we know? Well, let's have a look. When I click OK, presumably it's going to bring me right back to the main window. It says version 5.0. Okay, that's cool. How about here? Help about 4.5.0. Cool. Go back to the home page. And everything seems to be working just great. So if you did a snapshot, like a right-click snapshot of the VM before doing an upgrade, at this point you'd want to make sure this is working and then delete the snapshot. So hopefully you found this brief upgrade video of vRealize Log Insight helpful. Thanks for watching. And thanks for visiting tinkertry.com.